The slowly lifting mist and the rising sun greet the arrival of a car carrier as she approaches port after a long voyage. A new day begins. Soon, thousands of cars and other vehicles will emerge from her vast holds, whilst others enter to begin their own journey across the seas. The officers and crew prepare the ship for cargo operation. Occasionally, sadly, someone has an accident, despite all the safety features and regulations in force on board ship. How badly is he hurt? Will he be off work for long? Will he lose a limb, an eye, or worse? These are questions that should never have to be asked. There is no need for them on a safe ship. Car carriers and ro-ro ships are special vessels with unique design features and cargo operations, which can represent operational risks. Each type of vessel, whether car carrier, commercial ro-ro ship or ferry, has her own set of safety regulations in force, including those related to personal safety wear and designated hard hat areas. These ships are designed and equipped so that they are as safe to work on as possible. The only component that is left to you to determine is how safe you make your own function in this environment. This video is made to help you ensure your own safety and that of your colleagues when serving on such vessels. To begin with, before you can work on ro-ro ships and car carriers, you must attend special safety training in accordance with the prevailing regulations. This is to ensure that everyone is fully aware of the special design features of these vessels and the operational patterns on board, which can represent risks in certain circumstances.
And there's the fleet operations manual.
For example, the bow or stern openings, which should be kept shut during a sea voyage and which should be verified shut by several people independently. Or the risks associated with the operations of portable car decks. Ensure that the forthcoming cargo operations are well planned and that everyone clearly understands their own duties, responsibilities, and the risks associated with their tasks. In this context, any especially heavy, dangerous, or unusual loads are selected for special attention. Before crew members or passengers enter the car deck areas, these must be thoroughly ventilated. To this end, the fans must be switched on before the final safety inspection begins. Prior to cargo movement, and certainly after a voyage during bad weather, the decks must be inspected for loose lashings, fallen cargo from vehicles, and other hazards which may lead to possible injury or further damage during cargo movement. This inspection should include such minor things as oily patches on deck which may cause slipping, and protruding securing points or chains. The ship is prepared for cargo handling. Walkways and gangways are checked to ensure that they are clear of obstructions. Portable barriers are set up, and the hinge ramps and portable car decks are checked to ensure that no loose objects can fall from them or prevent their safe operation. After the ship has been securely moored, and only when all the safety checks have been carried out to the satisfaction of the officer in charge can the ramps be opened. This must be done by staff who have been trained and qualified for the job. In accordance with the Safe Code of Operations, one man should act as an observer, whilst another actually operates the opening mechanism. Ship's personnel have a duty of care towards shore workers, drivers, and others who come on board ship. An officer will brief these visitors about the safety and emergency procedures in force on board. Then, the cargo movement plan is discussed so that again everyone will be familiar with their own duties and the correct procedures to follow. Only after this attention to safety matters should cargo movement begin.
Ladies and gentlemen, will all vehicle drivers and their passengers please now rejoin their vehicles?
These vessels always work to a demanding timetable, which requires spending as little time in port as possible. So, cargo operations are carried out with as much speed as is practicable. This can be done safely, but everyone must keep in mind certain risks which are present in this situation. For example, on passenger car decks, smoking is not permitted. Nor should engines of private cars, trucks or lorries be started before they are free to disembark. A vehicle may make a sudden move. Officers in charge of passenger disembarkation should be aware of the risk of luggage causing a temporary obstruction which can lead to accidents. Care should be taken to avoid this. Loose and protruding lashings and other securing devices may cause someone to trip. A load may become insecure and move unexpectedly, causing injury. Forklift trucks carry crates which could have become split so that broken timber is protruding from them, which can also cause injury. Remember, the driver's vision is often limited on these machines, so give them a wide berth to avoid injury. Semi-trailers may become unstable if the securing devices were loosened prematurely or incorrectly. Leaking cargo which could be hazardous to health may be discovered, which must be dealt with in accordance with the IMDG code.
Doorway to terminal, the emergency team.
The appropriate emergency response is triggered, whilst everyone other than emergency personnel is to be kept away from the area. Fuel may be leaking, which can represent a fire hazard. Absorbent material should be applied to reduce this hazard. If a vehicle requires refueling, this should not be done on board ship. The vehicle should be removed and dealt with on shore. Ro-ro ships carrying passengers present other risks too. For example, working in the catering department, lifting of heavy items is sometimes called for. In all cases, the correct lifting techniques must be used, and help sort if necessary to avoid injury. Connecting doors may open unexpectedly and cause an accident. Talking of doors, The high thresholds common on ships represent a risk of injury caused by tripping. Strong winds may push the doors leading out to open decks back against a passenger, trapping a hand or a foot. Centrally controlled doors, such as those leading onto the car decks, may shut unexpectedly. Cleaning staff should be aware of the hazards represented by items discarded by passengers. In this case, a syringe. Special receptacles should be used for its disposal. The answer to all these risks is always think safety. No job is too urgent not to be done safely. During a sea voyage, it is necessary to inspect the cargo decks periodically to ensure that the cars are not moving, their lashings are holding tight, that no loads on the vehicles have vibrated loose, that no leaks of dangerous goods have taken place, that no fire hazards are present, that all the watertight side doors and bow or stern openings are tightly closed. The crew members who carry out these checks must ensure that adequate ventilation is provided and that they will not enter an area where the atmosphere may not be safe. In heavy weather, these checks must be carried out continuously. If resecuring is required during storms, the risk of personal injury is much higher. In these circumstances, special care must be taken when engaged in resecuring and other such operations under the supervision of a responsible officer to ensure that everything is done in accordance with best practice. Personal injuries, more often than not, are results of a momentary lapse of attention to safety. Besides causing pain and suffering, sometimes permanent disability and loss of earnings, they are an unwelcome intrusion in a productive and enjoyable life. Take care. It is up to you to ensure that this does not happen to you.